Yeah, so today topics are like we will discuss about the what is the versions and what is the history of SQL Server and what we required for an installation prerequisites, and we'll get to know some points of what kind of services will be running on SQL Server when you install. So these topics will be discussed today and tomorrow onwards. So installation will be going on. So I will be giving what kind of software you need to ready with your computer. Okay, so actually the discussion is like main topics we are discussing, like installation and backup, security, maintenance, HDR, troubleshooting, performance tuning, basic, and Azure introduction. These are the topics during our training sessions. We are going to learn these topics. Okay, so version history SQL Server. So Microsoft and so initially Microsoft and Sybase both are collaborated and released SQL Server version 1.0 in 1989. The first version of a SQL Server was released. So what happened after that? Sybase, went out from that collaboration partnership, and SQL Server owns its software and started launching software SQL Server in the market. So, however, the partnership was in 1990s, maintained ownership rights, and from 1990s subsequent years, SQL Server started releasing the version SQL Server 2000 and SQL Server 2005, 8, 12, 14, 16, 17. Today, latest version in SQL Server is SQL Server 2019. This is the latest version. Okay, and so in a SQL Server 2000 is the milestone for a SQL Server. Here a lot of features were introduced. From here SQL Server journey was started, like better good. So they introduced a lot of good features. They came into the uh, market as a competitive software for SQL RDBMS systems. And Microsoft, so this is the C. I'm going to share this PPT, share this Word document with you guys. And so if you're clicking on this one, it will be showing the versions and everything. So here you're able to see, right? So included here 1990 1.0. So before that 1.0 and till here, this is not running on a Windows version. Okay, 1993 onwards, they started release on services which is running on a Windows version. So 1995, so 2000, this is the landmark for SQL Server Windows 8.0, Windows SQL Server 2000. So 2000, okay, this is the 2005. So how they released the version based on the SQL Server 2005 means, which is released on 2005 year. SQL Server 2008 means released on SQL Server 2008, and 8 to 12 means SQL Server 2012. So what happened in SQL Server 2010? They released SQL Server 2008 R2 extended for SQL Server 2008. So they didn't release like a SQL Server 2010. It was not there. And 12 SQL Server 2012. So this is the version numbers 11.0 and 12.0, 13.0. These are the version numbers. When you install a SQL Server, when you connect to databases, you are able to see these versions. So for each SQL Server versions, they kept some names like a code name they kept, like a CART, My, CloudDB, Denali, Hackathon, Helsinki. Some names they kept. Okay. So what is the achievement for Microsoft is till SQL Server 2016, till SQL Server 2000. SQL Server 2016, it was running on Windows version only. Only it was running on Windows version, SQL Server 2016. But SQL Server 2017 onwards, they released software for Linux machine as well. So Linux machine as well, they released. Before that, it was platform dependent. From SQL Server 2017 onwards, there is no platform dependent. So you can install on a Linux boxes as well. So in a SQL Server 2019 as well. So Windows and the Linux boxes. So this is the, you can say, major achievement for SQL Server. Earlier, there is no versions where no SQL servers were running on Windows, but SQL Server 2017 onwards, they're released on Linux machine as well. So see, every year, I mean, every 2 years once they are releasing version. So each version, again, we are having the editions. So version means each year, uh, 2 years once they are releasing versions. In a version, again, we are having editions. Different editions were there in version, each version. So let's say, so this is the why editions are introduced, mainly the purpose to classify the features. Like if you are going with the one editions, you'll be having lots of features. You're going with the one edition, you'll be having a limited features. You're going with the other version, you will be having a medium features. Why? So the customer, based on the customer requirements, you can choose which version, which edition you can buy. Because why means to reduce the cost as per the customer requirement. If you're going for a edition which is having all the features, means the cost would be very high. So if you require only particular features which don't require in a higher version, which only have already in a lower edition, sorry, editions, I'm saying edition, then the cost would be less if compared with the higher edition. So these are the edition: developer edition, enterprise edition, standard edition, work group edition, express edition. So these are each, each here we are having this edition. SQL Server 2012. So you will be having this edition, and SQL Server 2014, you will be having same edition. SQL Server 2017 or SQL Server 2019. Every version you will be having these editions. Each version, these editions will be available, each version. So why? So we'll discuss about what editions are giving, what kind of features. So the main thing like standard enterprise edition. So the enterprise edition is this is mainly useful for a mission critical systems, which is running very critical, which is running high security related things, and which is having like a large OLTP systems. Large OLTP system means our a Flipkart is a large OLTP system. Banking services is the large OLTP system. The Facebook is a large OLTP systems. Sorry, Facebook, not a Facebook. Uh, like a banking, and fashion related things, health related things. So these are, a high OLTP. OLTP means online transactional processing. So the transactions are happening on the system each second. So like railway systems, like railways and airways, if you wanted to book the tickets or something. So this is the like a cab booking. This is the OLTP systems. Each and every seconds, there is a lots of transactions were happening on the systems, right? So this is so again here can go here. So mission critical, all it was. So this is the mission critical for enterprise. So what is the difference between the standard and enterprise? So the standard is for a mission critical for a very big company. So standard edition for a smaller medium scale OLTP systems. So based on the customer requirement, based on their cost, they will be choosing which edition they require. So this will be enterprise edition will be having higher cost, and the standard edition is having lower cost if comparing with the enterprise. So the features will be same. I mean, some of the features will be we won't be seeing in standard editions. Some support like memory, how much memory it will be supporting. Enterprise is supporting bit high compared with the standard edition. Standard edition is supporting bit less compared with the enterprise edition. And the CPU, processor, everything. So it will be bit less supporting when compared with the standard edition. The cost also less. And web edition. So web edition, so these are related to small scale OLTP systems. It is a web related editions. So most of the people want to be using this web edition. So mainly people are using enterprise editions, standard editions, and these developer editions, and express and evaluation editions. So developer edition, so this is mainly useful for a development, means lower environment, development, test, QA environment, people will be using this developer edition. Actually, this developer edition is free version only. There's no cost for this one because we people are not using this for a business purpose. I mean, we are developing something, we are testing something, but we are not getting these into the actual live servers or not running these softwares on a production servers, means there is no need to pay anything. Developer editions. Okay, so here you can see, right, we cannot use it for business purpose, means live application you cannot use it. So you can use it only for developing something, testing something only you can use it. So this is also express edition also. See why express edition means, so in generally this is for a educational purpose, like the people who wanted to learn SQL Server for their purpose. SQL Server released this version like express edition version, so they can download this one and they can use this one for freely for development for people who wanted to learn SQL Server anything. So but this won't be having much features, which is having a very limited features. Express edition and enterprise evaluation edition. So this enterprise evaluation edition will be having all the features, like whatever the enterprise edition is having, the same features will be having evaluation edition as well. But here we will be having 180 days of expiry. 180 days of expiry. So after 180 days, whatever the software you install, right, it will be expiring. It is the same as enterprise edition, but enterprise edition is a licensed one. So actually you will be buying the license for enterprise. So this is, we are not buying any license for evaluation edition. This is just for evaluating the product, but this is only for a 6 months period. After 6 months it's going to be expire. And so in generally how SQL Server, I mean, keeping the cost. See, before SQL Server 2012, the licensing model based on the processors. So based on the processors, they will be charging the cost. But what happened in SQL Server 2012, SQL Server 2012 onwards, it came into the market core based license, core based processor per core based license. Before that, that is until SQL Server 2008, it is like a processor based. In the processor, we will be having some kind of cores, right? So each processor, so this is like a processor. In processor, you will be having 1, 2, 3, 4 cores, 4 cores. So till SQL Server 2008, for this processor one, let's say processor 1. So processor 1. In this processor, we'll be having like a 1, 2, 3, 4 cores. These are the logical cores, 1, 2, 3, 4 cores. So these cores, SQL Server was not charged. It is charged based on the processor. So how many processor you have? So it will be charging. But from SQL Server 2012 onwards, what happened? So in processor, like in this processor, if you are having like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 processor you are having. So SQL Server charging based on this 4 processor. If you are including one more processor, means the charge will be increasing. Before that, based on the processor. Before that, based on the processor 2. The processor 1 and the processor 2. So based on the processor, the cost. Based on the processor, the cost we will be having in SQL Server 2012. But in, sorry, before SQL Server 2008. This is SQL Server 2008. In a SQL Server 2012, based on the cores. This is a core based model. This is a core based model. This is a processor based model. SQL Server 2012 onwards, they changed the licensing models. So based on the course, they will be charging. If you are adding more course, means licensing cost will be increased more. So this is the processor based and this is the license core based model. Okay, so and so here we wanted to know, I mean, what are the key components, what are the key components and services are available in a SQL Server. When you install SQL servers, so what kind of services you will be seeing in services.msc and SQL Server Configuration Manager. So what kind of services you will be seeing once you install a SQL Server. So you will be seeing like SQL Server. This is the database engine. So in generally, we will be working on this component, database engine component. So it will be having like a storage, transaction processing and securing the data. So this database engine component. So in this engine component relate, we will be having SQL Server services, SQL Server agent services, both SQL Server and SQL Server agent services. SQL Server means this is like whatever our databases are there, right? Those databases will be dependent on this services. So the service name is SQL Server .exe. If this service is stopped, means our SQL Server box will be in a SQL Server box. Our SQL Server box will be down because all the databases will be residing on this SQL Server. Once this started, means our all databases will be up. If it is a stopped, means all databases will be down. If started, means all databases will be up. If stopped, means down. This is one of the services, SQL Server.exe. SQL Server agent services. In generally, this service is mainly useful for jobs. If you wanted to set up any automated jobs, we will be using the SQL Server agent service. So this executable name is SQL Server agent.exe, and it performs a role of like a task scheduler. You people will be knowing, right? In a Windows servers, we will be having a task scheduler. What task scheduler will be doing? In generally, it will be schedule. Based on the schedule, we will be creating one task, so it will be running particular task. So that is the same agent. SQL Server browser services. So in generally, SQL Server browser services, whatever the requests are coming from the client, coming from the end user, so those requester will be listening, and it will be providing desired SQL Server instance name, connect to the desired instance name. So people who are coming from the outside, this browser will be allowing those instant those I mean whatever the client requests are there, right? It will allow to connect to SQL Server instance. This is like a full text search. We won't be discussing more about this one. Actually, this is related to development part. People developers will be using more, and so we will be having this service. If people who require development people, we will be adding these services to our SQL Server engine, database engine box. So that I will be showing how we can add features and how we can remove features. We will learn during our installation part. And this is one of the service, SQL Server VSS Writer. So this allows backup and restoration of data files when SQL Service is not running. I mean, this is no need to, care about this one. Just I included, but behind the screen, this will be running. So in generally, we won't be dealing with this one because this is running behind the screens. So we mostly concentrating with the SQL Server and SQL Server agent, SQL Server database engine services. This is okay. So this is the SQL Server analysis services, SQL Server reporting services, SQL Server SSAs. I think you heard like MSBA, right? SQL Server Business Intelligence. So this is one of the course actually. So MSBA means all these will be coming into MSBA: SQL Server analysis services, SQL Server reporting services, and SQL Server SSIs, integration services. SSAS, SQL Server SSAS means this is related to data analysis and the data mining related things. So in generally like people who wanted to do some analysis on the data or something, so they will be using analysis services. SQL Server reporting services, this is for a reporting purpose. People who wanted to do some reportings on our SQL Server, so they can use a reporting services. So which is like dashboard kind of things. You are able to see like higher management people, they wanted to see what is happening in the company. So what is our business and what is our business growth or some kind of report, they can see using SSRS report. Okay. And SSIS means, so this is like a ETL tool, extract, transform, and load capabilities. So this is one of the ETL tool, so base which is available in a SQL Server. So we won't be dealing with SSIS, SSRS, and SSAS. Just I will be sharing these details because so what kind of services will be available in a SQL Server. Okay, this is MSBA related things. So hope you people are clear.
Sir, I think in certain companies they will be asking this all this SSAS, SSRS, and SSIS knowledge.
Yeah, SSAS, SSRS, these are, this is the different course. See, some people, for experienced people or some people, so once join in the company, so mainly they will be focusing, so mainly while taking positions, they'll be concentrating on mainly on database engine services, core DBA activities. So if you are having like analysis services, reporting services, integrations, that will be little add-on. So some companies will be using, some companies are not using this one. So some companies using different for a reporting purpose, some Power BI or something. So based on their requirement. But if you are having some knowledge on this one, that will be helpful. So that will be covered under MSBA training, not in SQL Server core database training.
So at least you can be brushing up this, no, sir. At least in the basics, how.
So I mean, brushing means this will be again entirely different topic. So this is a development kind of thing, MSBA and everything. So this will become under different topic actually. So that is again a one course for MSBA.
Okay.
I mean, no need to think about this one. So if you are having a core DBA knowledge, that would be enough for you guys. You are required initial training, right? So you people required only core DBA knowledge. Okay.
Okay.
So these are the some of the installation prerequisites for a versions. So SQL Server 2000 version. I mean, so I included everything. If you come here, SQL Server 2000 or 2012, what is the hard disk is required, what kind of software requirement is required, .NET framework, just a minute. So .NET framework 3.5 or 4.0, processor type. So what kind of processes are required, and Windows installer, Windows OS, what is the Windows ES minimum. So these are whatever I have provided. These are the memory 1 GB. These are the minimum requirements to install a SQL Server software. But people won't be depending on this 1 GB or 2 GB, 1 GB RAM or something. So people will be mostly using like a 4 GB, 5 GB minimum. I mean, best practice is for 4 GB. To get a good performance, you need to have a 4 GB. But SQL Server is saying minimum is, if you are having a 1 GB, that would be enough for you to run the system. But it will be if you are having a 1 GB, it will be hanging. I mean, it will be very slowly. So minimum, I mean, best practices, I mean, recommended is 4 GB. The hard disk is, there is a no recommendation. I mean, anyway, that is a space, right? So 6 GB. So this is 3.5 .NET framework actually. AMD processor, Windows installer. This will be coming along with the Windows OS only when you're installing. The processor types: AMD, Athlon, Intel, Xeon, Intel. So, but people will be using, in generally, if you are going for a database server, people won't be using this kind of minimum requirements. So people will be using like a in generally 64 GB RAM, 125 or 256 GB RAM, 512 GB RAM, 1 TB RAM, because based on their system, based on their data, based on their transaction request, how transaction requests are coming to the database system. So how many are coming in a second, how many are coming in a day. So based on that one, they will be taking like a higher memory. They'll be scaling up their hardwares. Okay. So these are the general things like when you are installing, right? So when you are installing database engine, data files replication, initially how much space is occupying, 744 MB. Analysis services, what is space is occupying, include everything. So this is the space occupying for everything. Okay. So one more thing, like components. So these are the components I already explained, right? So workstation component, just a minute. So these are some of the components, whatever the components are having SQL. So this is already explained: SSAS, SSRS, SSR, browser, and full text SQL Server. And see, in generally, our model is client and server architecture. Client and server architecture model means, so what is that model? So when you are having like a, this is a box, this is a server, this is a server, and this is like a client. The model we can say client and server model. So in generally the request comes to the DB server and a request goes from the DB server. Response. A request, and this is a request, and this is the response. This we can call it as a client server architecture. So the request goes from the client end user and the response comes from the server DB server. Response come from DB server. It would be the client would be web server, or client would be some sites or something. So from the web server in general, yesterday I explained, right? So some topic like from internet the request goes to the web server, from web server it goes to the DB server, from the DB server response comes to web server, from a web server request goes to the end user. So this is the client server architecture which is available. So most of the systems whatever it is there in the market, RDBMS systems or any system, they'll be using like this client server architecture. We can call it as this client server architecture. So when you install a SQL server, the installations of a SQL server, we can call it as a instance of a SQL server. An instance is an installation of a SQL server. When you install, so this is the Windows box. So in general, you will be installing on a Windows box. So when you install a SQL server on a Windows box, okay, one instance will be created. So this one instance, we will be having this one instance, you will be having like databases, okay, databases and separate logins and separate jobs. So this is one instance. I created a one instance. If you want, you can create one more SQL server, like a one more SQL server instances. This we can call it as a instances. Each is independent. So there won't be any connection between these things, okay? Each is independent systems, like, but each is having like these kind of database, different databases, okay? Each is having different databases. In a one instance, if you are having like a one database, in second instance you will be having different database, third instance different database, fourth different, fifth different. So what is the use of this instance? So in generally I have a startup company, so I don't have a I don't have a money to build a many servers. So what I will be doing, in one instance I will be keeping like a development, one instance I will be keeping like a test server, so one instance I will be keeping like a U8 servers, one instance I will be keeping like a live prod servers. I mean, each databases are different. Prod we are having different, here we are having different, and here also we are having different. So all instances are independent. There won't be collaboration, there won't be any disturbance between these instances. So this is the main useful of instance. You can create in a SQL Server 2000, you can create 16 instance, SQL Server 2550 instance. But in generally, people won't be creating much instances, because if you are creating, how many instances are you are creating? I mean, if you are having whatever the RAM or whatever the processor you are having in your Windows box, right? Whatever this RAM and CPU, RAM and CPU, this will be shared by all of the systems. This will be shared by all of the systems. If you are like, if I'm adding one more instance, means one more instance will also be, RAM will be shared by one more instance, CPU will be shared by one more. There it will be putting a lot of, I mean, a lot of load on the servers. In generally, people want to be going with this model, but SQL Server given this option. If you want, you can use it. So I mean, two kind of instances will be there. That is like a first, when you install, that is a default instance. Second, if you are installing next instance onward, that we will be having a named instance. Initially when install, that we can call it as a default. After default, how many instance you will be installing, those we can call it as a named instance. See, only one default instance will be supported, and the multiple named instance will be supported in one server. Defaults will take the server name as a instance name. Like if your server name is A, if your server name is A, then default instance take it as A only. Okay. When you after that the default instance you created one instance name is dev. Named instance name is dev. You created named instance name is dev. How we can connect? Server name slash dev. So this is the named instance. Whatever you will be creating, server name slash the instance name. So in generally, this is the instance. In this instance, you'll be having, so whatever I explained here, right? Different DBs, different logins, different things. Each is independent. So this is advantages. So I told you, right? Advantages. So to install different version in one machine. I mean, in general, this is also one thing. Like in one box only, if you wanted to install 2012, in one box only, if you wanted to install SQL Server 2014, you can install it. In one box only, you can install SQL Server 2016. You can install. So these are you can install on one box, different instances for testing purpose or anything. You can install it to reduce the cost. Why we are doing to reduce the cost? So like to maintain a production, development, test environment separately in one server, you can do it. Database problem, security privilege, standby. So these are the main things in an instance. Okay, I mean, I just wanted to explain this one as well. So when you're going for an installation, when we are going for an installation, we will be having like two installation. One is a standalone installation, one is a cluster installation. So what is the standalone and what is the cluster installation? So in generally, so this is our Windows box. Okay, this is our Windows box. So in the same Windows box, if you are creating database instance, like installing SQL Server, and all the files will be saving it in this D drive or some drive, our E drive. Let's say our E drive. You install a SQL Server, and SQL Server files are available in this D drive. Database files are residing on this D drive. On same Windows box, those files are residing. Okay. So this model, we can call it as standalone model. So if something goes wrong with E drive, something goes wrong with E drive got corrupted, means what will happen? Our SQL Server will be down, because our SQL Server related files are SQL Server related files are residing on this E drive. SQL Server files are residing on this E drive. E drive got corrupted, means all the files will be corrupted, means the SQL Server which is running, it will be down. So this we can call it as a standalone version. In a standalone version, database also residing on the same Windows box, database files. So, but later to overcome this kind of situation, what happened? Microsoft introduced cluster. Microsoft introduced cluster. So what is the cluster means? Here, storage will be shared by two physical nodes, two virtual node. Here you can see, right? The cluster is nothing but more than collection of two or more physical identical access to shared storage, disk and resources and database files. So here our storage. So this is our storage. This is our storage means what I mean. This is server A and this is server B. Server A and server B both are communicating each other through one private network. Both will be communicating through one private network. So you can see, right, this one, whatever our database files were there, right, those database files will be stored here. That our database SQL files will be stored here. So this is not on the server, this is somewhere else. This is somewhere else at shared location, somewhere else. This is like a, we can call it as a third server. You can say something like, for your layman terms, I'm saying this is like a third server, let's say. So we installed SQL Server on A and we installed SQL Server on B. Okay. From A, it will be connecting to this storage. From B, it will be connecting to this storage. Something goes wrong with these servers, also there won't be any problem, because our SQL Server database files are resided on the storage. B can connect to the same storage. B can serve to the clients. There won't be any problem. B can serve to the clients. If something goes wrong with the B, A will be available as a standby. A can serve to the client. But our storage, whatever storage is there, storage we kept aside. Means something there is a problem with a hardware, A and B hard disks or something. So there won't be any problem. We'll be having like a storage separately. So this model we can call it as a cluster model. In cluster model, we need to install a SQL Server on A node as well as a B node. Both the node we need to install a SQL Server. Standalone means you need to install on only one server. So on a cluster, you need to install a SQL Server on both the nodes, node A and node B. So is that clear? If you have any doubts on a standalone cluster, let me know. I'll try to explain more on that one. Hello?
Yes, no, sir.
No, so it is clear, right?
Sir,
Yeah, please.
sir, one doubt, sir. Sir, in cluster, how can I find the storage, sir? Where is the storage there?
See, in a cluster through SQL Server setup, through Windows cluster setup, we will be attaching storage to these A and B servers. The storage will be attached through SAN, through NAS, the storage components, and when storage devices, SAN or NAS, we will be attaching to A node and B node. So this is like, see, this is like, I'll give you live example. Like, so you have your softwares, you have your laptop. laptop is running, where you will be keeping your critical data, critical files like your photos or something, some old files or some related. Sometimes you will be keeping on your hard disk, right? I mean external hard disk.
Yes.
So you will be connecting external hard disk when you wanted to use it. So something your like your Windows machine got crashed also, your data will be saved on your external hard disk, right?
Yes. Okay.
The same thing like here also, same model we will be implementing here.
Yeah.
The storage will
Clear,
be
sir.
connecting to, yeah, clear, right?
Yes, clear, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Let me know if you have anyone is having your questions or anything. Is it clear, guys? Versions,
Yes.
editions, history, and whatever the requirements we need, and what kind of installation type we have, what is the instances, and what is the cluster. So is it clear, right?
Sir, I have a doubt here.
Yeah, please.
Sir, the server A and server B will be running the same instance, or they will be like different instances? Are they? I mean to say they will be the copy of one more server, or it will be entirely different one.
So that is entirely different. I mean, so both the, like what it will be doing for this node and this node. So for this node we will be having a name as A, right? In generally, this node will be having a name as a B. So for this one you are attaching the storage. So from outside world, how people knows for which server I need to connect? I mean, they don't know, right? Which server they
Yes,
need
yes,
to connect to from
yes.
outside. So what we will be doing for both, we will be creating one virtual name like a VSQL something. This is our instance name. Okay. We will be creating one virtual name. So from outside, whatever the requests are coming, so it will be using this VSQL name. So VSQL will be connecting which server is online, that server it will be connecting. Okay.
Okay.
This VSQL, which is the node is active, for active node it is connecting. Some reason this node is down, so B is active, it will be connecting to B. So if your A and B both are available, up and running, but it will be connecting to only one node. So something goes wrong only, it will be connecting to other node. So other node is always like a standby.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So this is, I mean, a different scenarios are there. Active cluster, active passive cluster while installing. So we will be discussing installation part. We will be discussing more on that one. Is it clear right now?
Okay, sir.
Instance name. So this is the way. So let me know if you have any questions.
The
Is it,
collecting we are doing on server level or database level?
sorry?
Collecting process we are doing on server level or database level?
Sorry, installation doing on a server level or database level?
No, collecting.
I didn't get you. Collecting.
No, collecting we are doing right now.
Your voice is
And
not that much clear. You can
yeah, I am typing.
typing on chat. So requirements for installing requirements, what you people requirements. So first, I mean, so that is up to you guys. So what I am saying, VirtualBox, just install we have a Oracle VirtualBox. Okay, we can set up. So this will be like you people will be having like a separate machine on your Windows server or anything. So this is a VirtualBox, right? So you can install Oracle VirtualBox, and you can ready with the SQL Server 2000, SQL Server. Before that, install Windows Server 2012. Evaluation edition is enough, man. Evaluation edition on this back, and download SQL Server 2014 enterprise evaluation. You're able to see my screen, right?
Yes.
So these are the requirements for tomorrow's installation or something. You install one Oracle VirtualBox. So just to check it in a Google or something, how we can install. So this is like a VM box only. So why I'm trying to give this option, like instead of running on your server, whatever Windows server also you can install, but if you are having a separately for you people also, better visibility, and you people having a better separation, and okay, and install Windows Server 2012 install on this virtual box. Install this Windows Server 2012 evaluation edition. So this will be having 180 days of expiry. So go with the evaluations only. That would be very good. Okay, there won't be any licensing problem or anything, but you will be having all the features. So just download SQL Server 2014 Enterprise Evaluation Edition. Okay, all are like a 64 bits only, right? Will be having like a 2-bit 64-bit only. So this is. So let me know if you have any questions. You entered something. Clustering we are doing on a server level, Windows level. Clustering is on a server level. Mukesh, right? Hey, Mukesh. Hello.
Yes. Yeah,
So,
got it.
yeah, got it, right? So please ready with these things. Okay.